Hello and welcome to the Leckiju Lounge. This is your host Lex, and as Cat's Eye famously said, everything's gnarly. So welcome back. I have a very interesting, very different episode today planned because just the setup that I'm doing is very different. I like the Leckiju's Q segment. This is almost like an extension of that because I basically just want to pull from all the submissions that I get on Instagram, which is at Leckiju and at leckiju.kpop. This time I only did it on the K-pop account because I wanted specifically to speak to the most delusional people I know, which are the K-pop stans, me included. So if you are delusional, I think this is the podcast for you, and I want to share some of my fantasies and some of my delusions, and also talk about some people that submitted, because I got quite a lot, and I'm not going to out these people. It's going to be anonymous, and I let them know that, so it's not like I'm sharing anything without their permission. But for me, on my side, what's fun about Instagram is I get to actually see who it is. I'm not going to reveal it, but I did get to see who it is. And some of these people I don't know. Some of these people are truly just like anonymous to me, or some of them are online friends, and some of them are people I know in real life. And that part's really fun because obviously I'm not judging people, and I'm glad that they feel safe enough because on Instagram they know that I'm going to know who it is. So I'm glad that they trust me with this information and with knowing that it's them. Actually, somebody that I'm going to get into later, I'm not going to expose them, but they did tell me that they've never told anybody this, which, I mean, it's not even harmful. It's all just a fantasy. It's all fun, but they never have told anybody. So that's quite an honor for me. But before I get into everybody else's, I feel very lucky that I'm someone who has a very creative mind and a strong imagination. It can be dangerous at times, but my brother and I always talk about this because both of us have very, very creative brains, and we hang out all the time, like almost too much. So our brains together. He's looking at me right now. He's literally right there. He wanted to come watch the pod live. He's a live audience. And so we talk about all the time how it's sometimes dangerous to have us together for ideas, for different things. And it's just like, it's fun though. I will say it's very fun because I think we oftentimes get bored talking to other people who maybe aren't as imaginative, and that's why we have each other. That's why we were like born to be best friends and stuff. But we also have said that if we weren't born as brothers that we wouldn't necessarily be friends. That's just what we think because our interests are so different. I think we just have we're close enough friends, and we care enough about each other to like hear about what the other one's into. That's the way that it works. But yeah, I'm not sure if we'd be friends otherwise, but for now we're besties. So some of my fantasies, I'm just like, I live in a fantasy land, and so does my brother. We just like live in a fantasy world, and oftentimes we like always grew up, and we never were like being ourselves. We were always like playing a character or something like that, and we had so many different universes and worlds that like we could live in, different lives that we could live, sometimes as ourselves, as different characters, sometimes just like we look different, or we had like totally different personalities or lives or stuff like that. So I like to say that we're honorary actors, even though we haven't done paid work. I mean, we've made many movies, many series on iMovie, on an iPad. So I do think of myself, my acting's not good, but I have quite a bit of experience from all that, and that's always fun. But a lot of our ideas aren't able to be captured into even an iMovie or any type of like self-made film, and we really come up with some crazy storylines and stuff like that. But even in the daily things that we don't take a lot of time on, we're always just like talking in the like form of what if. So we're like, what if this person did this, or what if I was doing this with this person? And it's normally like either fictional characters or celebrities or people that we really like, and you want to like play with romantic fantasies in your head. We're big on that. We're big on that in this household, as in my room. And I love to hear other people's fantasies too, because I think it's really funny. I like hearing the way their creative brain works, and also the way that their dreams work when they're asleep. I have this friend who always was like mad because I would sometimes tell him about my dreams I had with K-pop idols, and he'd be like, I've never had a dream with K-pop idols. And he's been listening to K-pop longer than I have. Like, he's a longtime fan, maybe of, I want to say like 5 or 6 years. I'm like three years and a few months. But for me, I don't remember when my first dream with an idol in it was, but I know it was like probably, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months after I started getting into it. And that's all my media turned to that. My Instagram, my Pinterest, that's all it was showing me. So that's probably why, but I don't know how people's like dreams work. Honestly, I think researching though people's dreams could be super interesting, but it's also something that I don't necessarily feel like I need to understand. It's kind of just part of the magic of the world. I feel like that's just the magic of life, is you get to sleep and actually experience fantasies, or at least think that you experience them. But I have had a lot of dreams with K-pop idols or celebrities that I like, and I feel very fortunate to that, knowing that some people don't. But the good end to this story about my friend is that he actually texted me today when I'm filming this, and he said that he had a dream the other day with Young and Son from ATEEZ, and that's like, I'm like, congratulations, I'm so happy for you. And he did say it was steamy. He said it was a very hot dream. So I'm happy for him, because he deserves that, especially how much time we be thinking about them. Like, you deserve that much. You deserve to experience it. So I love dreams, and I wish that I could watch my dreams. I'm going to get into some of my submissions I have here. First up, we have, I think I know who submitted this. It says, wanting to take all the Tiara members to dinner to date them all together. I'm looking over there because my brother, I know he submitted this. If you're not familiar with Tiara, they're a little bit older K-pop group of girls. They've had a few members come and go, but for the most part they had 6. Now they have 4, but they're a little bit older. They don't perform, but they're having a little bit of a comeback performance, but they don't currently put out music. Either way, taking them all to dinner and to date them all together is a very fun concept, because we've actually talked about this a lot, and I have had the same thought. I mean, sometimes like you can't just choose one. Sometimes you can't choose one, and sometimes it's part of them all being there together. Because, okay, here's how the brain works. Some people are too jealous for this, but I've found, like, getting older, I've found that I'm not, for some reason. Because if some people will say that they want to be with their old bias, they want them, but they're like, they want them all to themselves and stuff like that, which is understandable. Some people are more jealous, I guess, which I'm not here to say like, oh, my man could do whatever he wants, like be with whoever he wants. But if it was like ATEEZ, for example, my old bias being Son, if he were to like want to spend a little extra time or some romantic time with one of the other members, I'd be like, that's fine. I actually like that. Like, I actually prefer that, and I'm happy for you. So I think that's part of that answer, is not just you getting to be with all of them, but them being together. I think that's part of the fun, at least for me and my brain, and I'm assuming my brother feels the same way. I know I do feel that way for ATEEZ as well, because I like the thought of them being together. Even if I can't be involved, they should be together. I was telling him the other day that obviously in like dream world, I want to say that I would want to be with Son from ATs because that's my man. But I also have thought that I would rather be with Songhwa so that Son could be with Wooyoung, because I just feel like that's even more perfect, because I would love them together so much that I would sacrifice me being with him, if that makes sense. Just because they seem so perfect. And I know a lot of people say Songhwa and Hongjin together, but for me, I mean, I love that. I would love that for them, but I'm also okay to like steal him from him. Let's move on. This says, wishing Lee Kitty would sneeze on me. And again, someone's grinning over there because Lee Kitty is one of the members of Tiara. This is also submitted by him. This one we don't need to spend too much time on, but sneezing on me is pretty low, but I've heard lower, so it's honestly not that bad. And I know that he's said lower than that, so this is pretty PG, I would say. I mean, sneezing, yes, that's icky, that's gross, but at the same time, understandable. I'm here to not judge. I said I wasn't going to out anybody, but I'm going to out him because these first two were both his that I wrote down. So he also wrote something about the Tiara members as Mortal Kombat characters. I didn't include that one here, only because I didn't know how many people would understand Mortal Kombat, but he did take the time to make a very lengthy submission of each Tiara member saying who was going to cosplay each character, which, very cool. And I get that as well. I've obviously thought of certain idols as characters. I'm sure people do it, like fan artists make a lot of cool things from that. And speaking of, he should actually commission somebody to make a fan art of the Tiara members as these characters. That would be really cool. But basically the idea of someone sneezing on you, that's just basically like, I'll take anything at this point from that person. Like, they use this straw and threw it away, I'm gonna go to get it out of the trash and keep it, even though it's trash. But we've all been there, I think. So moving on, this says, every time I see a Bongchan edit, I literally go crazy and I do a cartwheel into a split, and then in parentheses they said on it. So they mean a cartwheel into a split onto it. And I really just had to include this one because I thought the comedy of it. It was the comedy of it. I like the cartwheel and the split on it. Because, hey, some people really go crazy for edits. Me personally, I love edits and I love the edit music. I also just like the hot concepts, the sexy concepts. So like, I do like edits. I'm here for it. But I don't actually go like, when people say I'm going feral right now, I'm foaming out the mouth, like people are commenting those types of things, I don't actually have that type of reaction. And I know some of these people, they obviously exaggerate it, camp it up in the comments, but I don't actually even really think of those things. I guess because maybe it's just being like, it's not shocking to me. I'm a little bit, I guess, desensitized. So it's like, some people always quote I feel like a man seeing a woman's ankle in like a Victorian era or something, or Elizabethan time. And I do get that, but I'm like, they're hot. They are hot, but I'm just like, I'm not going crazy or anything. But I do love to see people react like that to edits. It's like watching someone get really scared at a horror movie. I don't personally get scared in most horror movies because I think I'm desensitized and I've watched a lot. And I used to, but whenever I can watch a horror movie with somebody who's like actually terrified, or they like actually scream or do like a big jump scare when something scary happens, I love to see it because that's what it's made for. I think that's what edits are made for. I can appreciate them, but unfortunately they don't actually do a whole lot for me in that way, but they're definitely fun. And I will take part in making them as well. this person said, the number of dreams I've had where I've made out with Huining Kai is concerning. If you don't know Huining Kai, he is in TXT Tomorrow by Together, and hey, I get it. I haven't had a lot of dreams that I would say are like similar, where I'm like, I always do this with this person. Haven't really had that. Also haven't had a lot of makeout dreams specifically, but maybe that depends on like if the person's specifically into that. And I don't really, I guess, think about that much. Like I think about cutesy and like kissing cute in a more cutesy way or like a romantic way, but not really like make out session. That's kind of doing too much for me. But I've definitely had idle dreams, but not like repetitive in that way. I've had, I think the best idle dream, or that most memorable for me, was one where I saw Songhwa, or all the ATEEZ members were out, and I saw them on the street. They were technically doing like an event where they basically stand in a line and they were like waving and they were talking with some fans, but at a distance. But then like as they were closing the event, it got more, I guess, pedestrian, and there wasn't a whole lot of security, but they also, like, the fans weren't acting crazy, so it was okay. And they were kind of just chilling with fans, and I talked with not all of them. I think I really tried to talk with San and talk with Songhwa, which is accurate. And San was nice and chill and everything, but then when I went over and like Songhwa and I talked, just the two of us, kind of separated from the group, and it was like super sweet, and he like somehow understood me perfectly, like not just English wise, I just mean like he understood me, and we ended up like hugging, and we were just like staying in that hug. It was super tight, and I feel like it was just emotional. Like, I don't remember if I was about to cry or if he was about to cry or both of us, because it was like there was some kind of understanding. And that dream kind of messed me up, because then when I was like, after that dream, I was thinking, this should actually happen. And not only that, I felt like I was thinking that it might, in a way, not like this exact scenario, but I thought, you know, if I really had a good conversation with Songhwa, he would get me and I would get him, and we would just like connect like we did in my dream. Which, hey, it could happen, because again, I'm even delusional to this day, but delusional is good, okay? Or that's what I'm telling myself. But I do think it could happen, or I think it should happen, at least for myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and manifest that. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll continue with some of these submissions. Now you got me looking all boo-boo-la-foo. Abadama's a dentist. I'm playing like tennis. Grassland like tennis. You the one I'm trying to finish. Ice on my teeth. Ice on my teeth. Ice on my teeth for my white tee. Ice on my teeth. Ice on my teeth. Ice on my teeth for my white tee. Okay, I'm probably going to leave that in. So, let's continue with my submission, shall we? That was Ice on My Teeth by ATEEZ. No copyright, because it was my beautiful voice. So, this says, someone said, not wild, but, because I mentioned that it should be a wild confession or something. They said, not wild, but a year ago, Dojun from The Rose and me totally made eye contact. I'm not super familiar with The Rose. I mean, I know who they are, but I don't know like the members, what they look like. But I guess Dojun, hopefully I'm pronouncing correctly. But him, so they made eye contact. I'm assuming this is like, they didn't say if it was at a concert or at a show, or if they just like saw them out in public. I'm kind of confused because there wasn't much context. But I'm very happy for them, and hey, I can relate, and I will elaborate on that, because I had a great experience at a concert where I made lots of eye contact. When I saw ATEEZ in last July, I made lots of eye contact, I think with every single member. I'm trying to think if I missed any. I remember when I got there for the sound check, the sound check's also better for fans because they don't have the lights down. So like the lights are up, and it's not the whole arena is filled. It's literally just like maybe 5, maybe 6 rows around the whole stage in the barricade. And then the lights are on, so like the members can see you, and it's just like very interactive and fun. And I already think by the sound check that like I had basically made eye contact with everybody, or like gotten everybody's attention in some way. But that also comes from being 6'2" and wearing boots, and there were like 2 people in front of me, but I know I could be seen for sure. And also I think, well, I assume when they see me that they would think like, oh, like there's a guy, and there's not a lot of guys here. But then I've also talked about, I don't know if they necessarily knew I was a guy either, but I don't really care. I guess I was wearing eyeliner, which I'm sure people would assume that was a female thing. So, but the eye contact, I feel you, is basically what I'm saying. Good for you, and I feel you. I relate to you, because it truly was the best feeling ever. And I have like videos of it, not all the moments sadly, but I have videos where it's like you can tell that like they're looking at me, because basically I'm holding my camera close to my eye level or close to my face, so it's like you can tell that they're making eye contact with me. But there's nothing compares, like the video does not compare at all to the actual feeling of like your eyes and their eyes connecting. Like that actually makes me giddy. That makes me like want to watch my videos right now, but also just experience it for real, because it's truly so crazy. It's someone like you love so much, respect so much, and just like not only you love their talent, but you just like have a crush on them. Like it's actually just a crush that you have. And I mean, I'm sure everyone knows the feeling of having either like a first crush or a crush just when you're younger, or a first love or something like that. And like whenever you actually make eye contact from a distance or like from afar, and you have like those little communications without words, it's like it's just butterflies. And I think I died whenever like we made eye contact. Actually, there was this girl I met at the concert, and she was next to me. We became pretty good friends just from being there. And it was like whenever the members would either like blow a kiss back, or they would I would do like a finger heart and they would do it too, or they would just like acknowledge me, I kept like making fun, and I would like fall over on her as if I was passing out or fainting, because like I mean that's realness. That's how I was actually feeling. But she kept like holding me up, so she was a good friend. Shout out to her. Her name's Mel. This person just put, where do I even start, ... And sadly they didn't actually start, so they didn't actually give me anything. But I'm assuming, based on where do I even start, this person probably has some pretty good fantasies, but maybe they're not super comfortable with sharing them, which that's fine. No biggie, no rush. This person said, when I first got into ATs, I couldn't tell Jungho and Yuno apart. This one's just kind of funny. This falls into the confessions category, and that's okay. I think I talked about my first impressions of all the ATs members, maybe on a recent episode, but that's just like the struggle's real, or maybe that was a live on TikTok that I talked about. So I was basically saying all of my first impressions of the ATs members, and I told some of my followers the video or the YouTube content that I watched, just in case they wanted to watch it, and what everybody looked like at the time as far as hairstyles and like just the era that they were in. And hey, sometimes I've never gotten Jungho and Yuno confused. I guess I see a little bit, maybe. Actually, I don't really see it. I was going to say when they were younger. I don't really see it, though. I can see, like, their cheeks, maybe, and depending on the hairstyling, but normally not at the same time. I don't really see them getting them confused. I never got Jungho confused with anyone. I was telling some of my followers on TikTok that Yunho was kind of the one that, like, I didn't have anything negative to say about, but I also like didn't notice him really in the beginning when I was getting into it. I was like, oh, he's one of the tall ones, but I'm like, he's not Mingi. Mingi and Yuno are the 2 tall ones, but like I knew who Mingi was. Yuno's kind of just like there, but now I obviously don't feel that way, as he's like trying to be my bias wrecker all the time. But don't even sweat it. That's totally fine. Moving on. This person said, oh, they said that they did character AI twice. And they said that the Hongjing bot, what am I saying? Hongjing bot wanted to have a threesome with me and Sunghwa. And I love this. Love character AI. I love when it takes AI at sometimes to match my freak. And, well, honestly, character AI and, like, any AI bot, they don't match my freak as much as they should, personally, or maybe for safety, that's why they don't. But it's always fun to do it. I haven't done it in forever, but I definitely have. And it's basically like a write your own Wattpad, except you're not in full control, and that's kind of, I guess, helpful. It's like assisting you to write a fanfic, which is super fun, and it's more personalized. It's including you. It's really, when you think about, like, when we were children, think about us on, like, playing on a Nintendo DS or something like that, and that was really high tech. Like, me playing Cooking Mama, me on, like, I don't know, Superhero Squad. I'm trying to think, like, the Lego Batman DS game, things like that. That was so high tech for me. But now that you can talk with an AI bot of some celebrity or even fictional characters, like, I don't know, they literally have anything. Like, I could talk to Bowser from Mario Kart on character AI. I haven't tried it, but I'm sure that he's on there, and they just have the most random things. That is really crazy technology, and honestly very scary, but it is really cool. So anyways, Hongjing wanted to have the threesome. Good for you. I think y'all should. This is the last one I have on here, and I think this is kind of a little bit of the climax of these. So it says, I wasn't horny enough while kai-kaiing with my ex until I was dreaming about Woods. So I don't know if it's Woods or Woodsy, but this is a K-pop idol that he does, like, K-pop and rock music. I'm not super familiar with him, but I know what he looks like. And this is funny because I have been there, and I love your honesty. This is very brave of you to share with me. And basically what they're saying is just, like, if you're having some type of, like, intimate moment, or you're in a relationship or something like that, and, like, if you weren't feeling it, I guess, or you just, like, weren't in the mood, or they weren't really doing something quite the way you like it, then sometimes it takes a little bit of imagination, and that's where a creative brain comes in handy. And that's why I say, like, I have been in that situation before, and no longer am, but, like, sometimes you're just, like, trying to get it done, not like you're trying to get it over with, but you're just, like, you're trying to get it done. So you just think, hey, let me think about this, or, like, what's gonna work for me right now. And sometimes it's gonna be your celebrity crush or a certain idol, and I know that certain idols have worked for me before. So that's just honesty, and that's just realness. If you haven't done that, that's okay, and I'm happy for you that you haven't been in that position. But if you ever have to, I mean, hey, just think of your favorite fan cam, and that might be enough. You're just thinking, like, okay, sun, fireworks, fan cam, done, basically. He had pink hair, he had the sash, that was it, abs out, and he was just, like, rocking around. I mean, hey, that would be enough for me. So I recently posted a TikTok talking about how I was delusional for preparing for a concert in a way that's, like, looking clean and presentable, because you want to, like, when you're gonna see your fave artist, for me that's being, like, ATs, and I knew I had VIP, which includes send-off, which means they're gonna see me, like, right in front of them. And like I said, they did notice me from the audience, but, like, I was like, they're gonna see me up close in, like, a regular lighting, so I have to, look presentable. And if I go to concerts, I always love to dress fun because I think that's just part of it. I think that's one of the best parts, honestly. I like to go to Goodwill. I like to pick out like random pieces and get something new for the concert is always really fun. So for some concerts, though, I don't really think about the idols even seeing me necessarily, but because I have VIP, I was like, they're gonna see me. That's what I literally paid for that. So like, they're gonna see me. And of course, I'm gonna like shave my face. I'm gonna do just like a little bit of makeup. I think I did like a cat eyeliner, and I don't even think anything else. Did my hair real cute, and like I was saying, this is already delusional because just like thinking I'm gonna look cute for my idol, but also I feel like it's respectful. And also you can't tell me to not do that. Like I'm gonna do it. And then after that, what I proceeded to say in my video was talk about how I would groom everything, and that's just because that's just for the just in case. And I was thinking a lot of people are gonna agree with me on this, or a lot of people maybe will feel seen, feel relatable, and that was partly true. I had a lot of people on like different sides of the spectrum, especially TikTok versus Instagram Reels. It's a very different place. It's a very different comment section. But some people were saying like, oh, 100%, like I'm doing my everything shower before the concert or the night before the concert, and they just like were really understanding. But then there were also some people being like, this is weird, you're weird, or they're like I'm with you on this part about like doing the makeup, dressing cute, but like you went too far. And hey, maybe it went too far for you, but that's not too far for me. The thing is, somebody also pointed out that they might not be going home with one of the artists that you're there to see, or you might not be like getting lucky in that way. But what if you go home with a fan, or you get lucky, meet a fan who's super fine and super nice, and even like more attractive than the artist you're there to see, or more like charismatic, whatever. And that's a very good point, and I have thought of that before, but in the moment making the video I didn't even think about it, because I would have said that and included that. But I'm glad somebody pointed that out, and they're thinking about the bigger picture, the even bigger picture. I always thought that like, if it's a just in case, in my head, because I've told y'all, you all know that I'm a very delusional person, I always say like, well, what if I need to go back to a hotel? What if I need to book a flight to Korea? Actually, my dad pointed out, he was like, did you take your passport when I went to that concert, or to maybe when I saw the concert in theaters? And I was like, no, why? And he was like, you might have to, like, what if you had to book a flight? And he's like, so not like this, but he was like, what if you had to book a flight and go? And I was like, you know what? That's a valid point. He thought he was being silly, but I'm like, that's a valid point. Like, that is a very true point. And I'm surprised I didn't even think about that. But I guess I shouldn't have thought about that. I'm like, surely I can drive 30 minutes home before I'd have to pack up and do all that. As if it's actually happening. But maybe next time, though, I go to their concert, I probably will bring my passport. Because he brought that up. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what if I didn't have time to go home? I'm obviously going to go, so I have to be ready. But Atlanta's the first stop this concert, so they actually will have to go not to Korea after that. Since we're opening, I don't know where they're going next. Possibly Florida. Possibly, I think that's the only other southern location. So if you are going to the Atlanta concert, feel free to DM me, or if you don't want to, if you see me at the concert, it's at the State Farm Arena, and I don't know if I'm going to be there all day, don't know if I'm going to do freebies. I would like to, maybe I'll do some, but like, if you see me, or you recognize me, I would love to kiki a little bit, at least say hi, because I am going to be there by myself, and you know, I'm always down to make friends if they're 18, because it's kind of my favorite fandom. Nothing against any other ones, but those are just my people, and that's where I feel safest. So, if you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did, please tune in next week. We post every Thursday at 6 p.m. So please subscribe here. You can also turn on the post notifications so that you'll get notified every time I post. And then also, please comment any confessions you may have. This does not have to be K-pop related. This can be about any celebrities or any celebrity crush or just lifestyle things in general, because I'm fantasizing about everything constantly. I'm living in a fantasy land, and I'm also manifesting things. I'm imagining things. So comment your wildest things, because I really do like to read through it. I think it's super fun. If you want to check me out on Instagram and see those amazing reels I was talking about, you can find me at Leckiju or at leckiju.kpop. And if you want to check out my TikTok to see those amazing TikToks I was talking about, it's at Leckiju212. And that's everything. It's all linked in the link tree if you want to go to the channel. That's much easier. But this has been the Leckiju Lounge. Bye-bye.